Hi, this is Ron Malhotra, the founder and the CEO of The Successful Male. I started The Successful Male about 2 years ago, and I still remember, I was driving and I had the idea that something needed to be done to help men. The reason I felt that way was, there was a lot of initiatives that were aimed at helping women, and of course, for the simple reason that women have been disadvantaged for so long. So it makes sense to have lots of initiatives that are supporting women. This movement is not really about feeling sorry for men. It never has been. It's not about that. There's a lot of men's movements already out there. There's lots of men's initiatives out there, and I just wanted to take the time to talk about how the Successful Male is different. So first of all, the Successful Male is not about wrapping men up in cotton wool and making them feel like there's too much pressure on them. Pressure is a part of life. It's just never going to go away. In fact, there was much more pressure on people, back in the 1950s, 60s, 70s, where, there was wars happening, and there was, the longevity trends were less. People were living a lot less. There was more sicknesses. There was more conflict. People didn't have the opportunities that they have today. We didn't have the technology that we have today. Whilst I completely come from a place of understanding that men need support, it's not coming from a place of seeing men as weak and thinking all men need sympathy. Because what's happening with some men's initiatives out there is that there's a perception that men are struggling, and so we need to stop telling men to man up, which I completely agree with. I think the whole concept of telling men to man up, what does that even mean? I think it's so deeply rooted in this macho philosophy that basically implies that men can't be emotionally expressive, or that men can't feel a level of emotion, and they just need to just stay strong. And I think if you're a human being, whether you're a man or a woman, you're going to have times where you're going to feel down, and you should be allowed to feel that way, and you should be allowed to express yourself. But I think the thing that's worrying me the most is, I think the message has been lost in translation. The statistics are certainly pointing to the fact that men are struggling in a number of areas, and they're lagging compared to women. So women are starting to do well in terms of starting businesses. Their incomes are increasing, and even at the school and university level, men seem to be falling behind. And I don't think the solution is to feel sorry for men, because I think we're now picking the wrong battle. I think there's a whole new movement happening around this thing called toxic masculinity. So this whole concept of toxic masculinity basically says that we should take it easy on men. I don't know if that's the solution, because I think already as it is, I'm finding that most men that I'm seeing have a complete inability to cope with pressures. And look, I understand that there's a lot of pressure. I don't want to take that away, because being a man, I understand there's pressure to be a family man, a good husband, a good father, a good son. And then there's obviously the pressure of managing the finances and looking after the household and so on and so forth. And so the pressures are there, and I don't think the pressures are going to go away, because that's just the real world. Things are moving fast, and things are changing, and so a lot of men are struggling to cope with the change. And so there's a whole new generation of people that are coming out, and there's new movements and initiatives coming out that are basically saying, hey men, it's okay, you can cry, you can take time out, and you can basically, what they're encouraging you to do is to quit in many ways. And that can't be the solution, because it's not like the world's just going to change to accommodate the insecurities of men. No, it's going to change because some people are struggling, because there are a lot of people struggling, but there's also a lot of people thriving in the world. So what is the difference? Why is it that some men are thriving, and then some men are surviving, and then some men are just completely struggling? What is the difference? Now, because I've been doing this for a while now, and I have spoken to a number of men, and I have my own reasons, which I'll talk about as to why I started this. I'm in the coalface. I'm having conversations, and I can see what men are going through. But here's what's interesting. Since I started the men's movement, the number of inquiries from women have massively increased, and it appears that women seem to be a lot more determined to change their lives, to invest time and money into developing themselves, and rather than feeling sorry for themselves. And it's almost like there's been a reverse trend with men, where men are starting to feel sorry for themselves. The dichotomy of this is that in one way, I have to help men because we want to help men thrive. We want to get them out of struggle. But at the same time, we have to do it in a way that helps men raise their standards, that helps men become more resilient, that helps them become more tenacious, be more driven, be more determined, but also at the same time be more inspired, be more purposeful, be more aligned, be more emotionally connected with themselves and socially aware, so that they can connect with others. And so we developed quite a number of initiatives, from the Facebook group where we share regular content. We grew a team of consultants to service men with our programs, which were basically designed to enable men to find out who they are, define what success means for themselves, become very clear on their purpose and passion, understand how their mind works, have a real good grasp on the success principles that have helped and enabled successful people become really successful, whether they're leaders or they're entrepreneurs or they're just investors. So we put a lot of thought into this particular program, and we talk about productivity and performance principles, and what it means to be a high charactered leader, and even things like spiritual intelligence. We talk about heart-based intelligence, financial intelligence, so that effectively men are getting a 360-degree development in all areas. Because at the moment, if you look at the way our education system works, it teaches men how to make a living, but it doesn't teach them how to make a life. And that's precisely one of the reasons why men are finding that they're busier and busier and busier chasing money, but still feeling like they don't have anything to show for it, and they're not feeling aligned, and they're not inspired, and they're not fulfilled, because blindly chasing money is not going to take the problem away. So we believe that the best way to become successful is to first find out who you are. So find out what your purpose is, find out what you love to do, and then build your business, your career, your occupation around that. And that's the sweet spot of success, because where your purpose, passion, and profit come together, it's a very fulfilling place. If you just have profit, but you're not on purpose and you don't love what you're doing, you'll feel inauthentic your whole life. At the same time, if you're very passionate about what you do and you're very much on purpose, but you haven't learned how to be financially intelligent and commercially intelligent, you are going to love what you do, but you're always going to be broke, and your self-esteem is going to be affected. And so we really took the time to research, how we can help men. And so we looked at, rather than giving them surface level solutions, which it appears a lot of providers out there are providing surface level solutions, we decided that we're going to go deep, and we're going to provide a holistic perspective on what it means to have a fulfilling life. But here's the interesting part, right? The fact is that everybody deep down knows that in order to get real and permanent transformation in life results, there is no easy and quick fixes. You have to go through the process, you have to take the risk, you have to take the plunge, and you have to commit, and you have to be disciplined, and you have to want it. Deep down, we all know that. We know that quick fixes don't work. But despite that, the number of people, that have, even when they've had the opportunity right in front of them to change their lives, have not done what they should be. They know they should be doing. Part of me thinks, okay, there is definitely a problem out there, and we need to help men. But even when there is help available, what I'm finding is that so many men will not do anything about it. So at the end of the day, you kind of, you do question, well, are our problems as men, are they self-imposed? Are they self-inflicted? Because problems don't take care of themselves. The only thing that happens naturally is chaos, confusion, and conflict. Everything else requires discipline and planning and strategizing. So when the solution is available for men, why don't they do anything about it? I mean, have we become so weak in terms of the fact that we have become so apathetic towards our own situation? We become so indifferent, or we become so fearful that we're not prepared to take any risk, that we become so short-sighted that we do not see that in the long term, for anything to change, we have to invest in ourselves. Because there is the reason why, and I have to say that, whilst I lead this particular movement, I'm massively inspired by women. I see women now, and it's amazing to me that women will take the risk and they will follow their passion and they'll follow their purpose and they will develop the skills to become better, to change their results. But men are becoming more and more resistant to learning. And I don't know why. I don't know if it's driven by ego. I don't know if it's just the fact that it's just the overconfidence bias that I already know everything and I don't need to know anything else, or are they just distracted? But the fact is, things are not going to change unless we decide to change, and unless we decide to invest in ourselves, unless we understand that ultimately the cause for all of our problems is how we think. Everything else is the effect. We can keep changing the effect until the cows come home. We can keep working on the symptoms, but unless we correctly identify the problem and we address the problem, the symptoms will not go away. And so for me, that's what this is about. And this, we have some exciting things happening in the future, and we recently changed our tagline from inspiring men to thrive to bringing gentlemen back, and what it means to be a modern day gentleman. A lot of people wrongly perceive that gentlemen are men that are weak, that men that just walk around in suits and pen pushers, but they don't realize that gentlemen are men that are, they're emotionally intelligent and they're gentle, but at the same time, when they need to be strategic, when they need to be political, when they need to get things accomplished, they step up. And so we question, what does it mean today to be a modern day gentleman? What does it mean? What should success look like for men today? And that's what the Successful Male is about. So if you're a part of our movement, well, thank you so much for supporting us, and thank you for being, participating and contributing your thoughts and your ideas and wanting to be a part of the work that we're doing. And if it's the first time that you've come across the concept, and it's the first time that you're hearing me talk, well, I'd welcome you to look us up on thesuccessfulmale.com. Find out what we do, find out about our events and our programs. And if you're someone that is struggling or even stagnating in life, maybe you're finding that you're doing well, you're doing relatively well in life, but you want to be in a better place than where you are. Just reach out and contact us. We're a business as well, and we sell solutions, but we're not gonna force you into anything. What we're going to do is we're going to tell you, and we'll show you. We have an amazing questionnaire which actually helps you identify the gaps or your blind spots that are holding you back. Because if you don't know what the problem is, how can you fix it? So we start there, and then we will tell you what we think the solution is, and we'll show you the research on it. And if that resonates with you, then you may want to consider taking some, maybe even baby steps, in order to improve your life. So I just want to say thanks for watching. I felt like I needed to talk and I needed to connect with you guys. Many of you have been a part of our community, and I just wanted to share some thoughts. I'd love to know what you think. Shoot me some questions, your comments, your thoughts, your ideas, your concerns. I'd love to know what you're thinking. As men, I think we need to get better at communicating with each other. We need to get better at expressing and sharing our thoughts. So let's do that. I think it's time for us to step up. I think it's time for us to become more high-charactered and more responsible. I think it's time for us to go, we're not weak. We don't need to be victims. We can do whatever we want to do. And I've been there myself. I've had the problems. I've been depressed. I've been frustrated. I've been broke. I've been confused. I've lacked my self-concept. I've been through it all. I've had issues with employers. I've had issues with partners. I've had everything. But the reason I don't go and milk my story is because I just don't want to commercialize my story. But I can tell you now, I have been through many, many, many setbacks, and that's what gives me the drive and the resilience to do this. And if you're somebody that's going through setbacks and challenges, and you've had some adversity, I'm going to say this to you. The seeds of greatness always come from adversity. So don't think it's a bad thing. You have a perfect opportunity. It's not what happens to us, it's what we do with what happens to us that determines our life results. Thank you so much for watching.